Good evening, everyone. This is Doug Zed. How are you this evening? This evening I wanted to talk about a very important subject, maybe life and death, and the subject is called counter steering. So, let's go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
If we want to talk about counter steering, we need to cover some basics physics, because counter steering is not so intuitive as
Surprise, motherfucker.
counterintuitive. When you're driving a car, when you want to turn right, you turn the steering wheel right. You want to turn left, you turn it left. But you need to notice a phenomenon that occurs when you steer right or left. When you turn, for example, right in a car, you feel a force pushing you left, pushing you outside of the curve. And the faster you go, the stronger the force you feel. This force that throws you towards the outside of the turn is called the centrifugal force. Physically speaking, it's not really a force, it's a product of inertia. Another force that is applied when you take a turn is the centripetal force. If you take, for example, a tennis ball and you attach a string to it and you start turning the string, the tennis ball will move in circle, and the force of the string, it is called the net force, will attract it to the center of the circle. If we, for example, cut the string in the middle of the turn, the tennis ball will fly away. The same force happens when you take a turn in a car. But instead of the string pulling you to the inside of the curve, into the inside of the circle, the traction of the tires, it is what pulls you to the center. The centripetal force pulls you to the center of the circle, and the centrifugal force pulls you outside of the circle. So if you take in account the centrifugal force that pushes you outside of the curve, in a car, it doesn't matter too much, because the car has four wheels, and it doesn't affect the car's balance. But in a motorcycle, when you have two wheels and you have a power that pushes you outside of the curve, it's bad news. So you have to oppose the force that pushes you out by leaning inside of the turn. When you lean inside to the inside of the turn, you use the gravitational force to oppose the centrifugal force from throwing you out of the curve. Basically, leaning is the only way to take a turn in a motorcycle. But in order to lean your motorcycle, you need to use counter steering. So if, for instance, you want to turn left, what you do, you push the steering bar with your left arm. So it's counterintuitive, because if you push with your left arm, the front wheel will turn right. But what will happen is that the traction of the front wheel will create the centripetal force in the right direction, and at the same time the centrifugal force will be created at the opposite direction, in this example left, and it will lean your bike to the left. And we already learned that in order to turn left, we need the bike to be leaned to the left side. And the same thing goes to the other side.
The centripetal force and the centrifugal force are described by the equation the mass times the velocity square divided by the radius of the turn. The faster you take the turn, the stronger the centripetal and the centrifugal force will be, and therefore you will need to lean more into the turn. The faster you go, the more you need to lean into the turn. And it's also a factor of the radius of the turn. The sharper the turn is, the more leaning you need to do. And it's also a factor of the mass of the bike, of the rider. But the main factor is the velocity. If you go really slow, you won't need counter steering, you won't need leaning and all of this, because there won't be no centrifugal force or centripetal force. So after learning all the physics behind counter steering,
A guy will tell me, I never took physics class and I know how to lean my bike, I know how to take sharp turns, I don't have to think about counter steering and all that stuff you're babbling about. So I'll say, you're right. You do it without even being aware. But this is the problem. And this is how important this video is.
if you're doing counter steering without even being aware of this, it becomes problematic in stressful situations. When you don't assess the exact speed
You need to enter a corner, and you enter a corner too fast, and you find out the corner is deeper than you thought. You go into panic mode, and in panic mode you start to think, and this is when problem starts. When you are panicking and you start thinking, you go for the basics. You go for the basic intuitive stuff. Your brain tells you, hey man, you need to turn right ASAP. So you take your steering bar right, like as you will do in a car, or like you did in kindergarten when you were riding a tricycle. And what will happen is bike will throw you away to the other side. Not only that you won't make this corner, the bike will throw you away to the other side. And the same goes when you need to swerve very fast, when you counter an obstacle in the way. In panic mode, you will go to the intuitive stuff. Your brain will start to think what to do and won't do the thing naturally. So the solution is you need to be aware of counter steering. It's not a complicated technique or something. You do it all the time. You just need to be aware that you are doing it. So what I do is when I take corners, I try to be aware that I'm pushing counterintuitively. When I take a right corner, like this corner, I'm aware that I'm pushing with my right hand in order for the bike to lean. So I train my brain to make the counterintuitive intuitive. So, God forbid, in panic mode, I will do the right thing and I will still use counter steering, and I will be able to avoid the problem very efficiently. And I can stretch out how much important this training is for you to stay alive. It's a life and death issue. So it's a simple exercise to do, and I encourage every single one of you to do it, to be aware of how I steer and how I lean my bike. And it's not just steering, it's in every technique in biking or every technique in life. You need to be more aware and try to educate and train yourself. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Take care guys, ride safely, and we'll see you. Bye.
Thank you for